Hello, everyone, and welcome to Crucial Conversations about Cognitive Diversity, brought to you by Bridges 2E Media and the 2E Centre for Research and Professional Development. So, as you may know, my name is Maria Kennedy, and I have the pleasure of being your host. I'm a mom, an educator, and a change maker who has had the pleasure of working globally with an array of different students and their families. I now live in sunny California, and I was lucky to meet today's guests a day after I arrived here to take up my position as director of the Phoenix program at Bridges Academy. The O'Kellys are a remarkable family. They're kind, generous, loving, and just always willing to help anyone. They have been kind enough over the years to share with me both their struggles and the joys of their accomplishments. They are living proof that a strength-based education model helps students to grow and develop in ways that deficit model just never can. So I am delighted to introduce you to my dear friends, the O'Kellys, founders of the O'Kelly Lab. So let's kick it off. Harry, please turn on your camera and introduce yourself.
Hi, hey Maria, thank you for that warm welcome. Oh my gosh, it feels like I'm in your office.
I know.
Way back when we first started with Bridges, and I would come in there as a mom and just go, help me, help me, help me. And you would always open your office and give me a big hug and just be there for me. And you're still there for so many people in this community. Woo, what a community builder. I'm Harry James O'Kelly. I'm the mom and one of the founders of the O'Kelly Lab, which is a grassroots effort where we just get out there and share resources with other families. We do advocacy. We have a few products that we have out there, like there's a book behind Maria that's something Jordan wrote in 4th grade that he created, that's kind of like funny stories about our family and what we went through. And we have a film that's out there that's a documentary with a lot of kids that went to Bridges. So it's this beautiful time capsule now that we can look back on and really look at the growth that our kids have made through strength-based education. And that's pretty much, I'm the head sandwich maker too, and I drive them. So that's it. I'm still a mom and a parent advocate. So thank you for coming. I'm seeing in the chat so many familiar faces. This is such a community builder. Crucial conversations. We get such great information. It's free. I hope that everyone will spread the word. And I watched Dan Peters last month. Oh my gosh, I love Dan. So you just have on all the cool people.
I do. I am so fortunate. I get to hang out with amazing people like you, Harry, and it's such a blessing. So let's meet another one of the O'Kelly family. So Jordan, please turn on your camera and introduce yourself.
Hello all. I'm Jordan O'Kelly, son of Harry O'Kelly. That's like my achievement number one. But let's see what else I got under my belt. I'm 18 years old. I'm in my 5th year of university studying physics with a math minor. I am a Bridges alum, and I'm super excited to be here.
Thank you. Are you kidding me? Are you 18? I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. When I first met Jordan, he was like this big, and he's just sprouted and grown and transferred from that shy, quiet person to just a phenomenal human being. I am so super proud of you, Jordan. I feel like, like the proud mom, although neither you, Rachel, or Macy are actually mine, but I do feel like the proud mom every time I hear about what's great going on with you. So without further ado, coming in, please, Rachel and Macy, unmute and turn on your cameras, please, and introduce yourselves.
Hello, so I'm Rachel O'Kelly, and I don't know, I'm a senior. I'm in high school, and then I'm the head of design and outreach for the O'Kelly Lab, or co-head of design and head of outreach for the O'Kelly Lab. And I'm really happy to be here. When I'm not doing school, I'm doing either art or art film producing and advocacy, and just I love all these opportunities for being here and spreading the word about 2E education. So thanks for having us.
I'm Macy. I'm also a senior. I'm Rachel's other half. I am not the design or outreach. I think my last status with the O'Kelly Lab was amusement, or like being amused. Inspiration, that's what it was. But I kind of just jump in wherever is needed. And right now we're actually at school. We go to an arts high school in San Gabriel Valley. So when we're not in school, we're doing art outside of school or working with our mom on this, organization. So yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So you may notice that in the background over here, there's a book, over here, there's a book, but this is the book. So written by the amazing Jordan, right? So these monologues are phenomenal. I have chuckled myself half crazy, and I know that Jordan will be telling us about another project that he has coming up. So the O'Kellys are kind enough and generous enough to give us 3 copies of this wonderful book. So stay tuned, listen out for the poll at the end, and answer the question for a chance to win one of these amazing books. Trust me, you have to share them with everybody that you've ever met, because they're definitely worth reading. Jordan's just so amazing. Now, I want to start with Macy, because Macy, I need to say how grateful I am to you, because I know that you've been sick this week, right? So Monday and Tuesday have been really, really rough. But despite all of that, here you are, perky and happy. And I'm sure that you're not feeling 100% yet. But I just wanted to thank you for making the time, even though you've got all of these other things going on and you're not well, to be with us. So in addition to being 2E, Macy, you have some other challenges going on, or you've had some other challenges going on. Do you want to tell us just a little bit more about who you are and what's been happening to you in your life?
So when I was 10 months old, I had a liver transplant as a result of biliary atresia. So I'm under kind of that OHI, other health impaired delineation. And that's kind of a lot of where my disabilities stem from, is an underlying kind of medical condition. So I think that's kind of been a lot of where I get my motivation from, is feeling like I need to, I think I need to work harder to understand things, or work harder to kind of be at the same level as other kids. And I think something that I imagine overcoming challenges is kind of a big theme. Something that has been a big overcoming challenges thing for me has been not compensating for my disabilities, especially my medical disabilities, which prevent me from doing a lot of things that other kids can do, like certain PE activities, certain trips, things that would kind of build community in classrooms, and going beyond the expectations based on my own motivation. So yeah.
I love that. And I know, you mentioned, other kids get to do things, so they go out on trips and they spend time together. But Macy, people still adore you. You are still uber popular, right?
I don't know about that.
But you were super popular when you were here. I have yet to meet anybody that has anything negative or ever said anything negative about you. Your teachers raved about you, right? So how do you stay upbeat and positive? What is it? I mean, apart from having an amazing mom who, always manages to crack me up, what is it? How do you stay going and stick in there?
I think the biggest thing is having people around you that support you and that you like and that you relate to. In my life, because it's been more difficult for me to connect with other kids, I don't have similar experiences, and certain disabilities like ADHD, excess anxiety, I think the most important thing for me has actually been my siblings and the close friends that I do have. Because finding that community within the people that are close to you is where you're going to get your motivation and where you're going to get that positivity, because you can talk to them and exchange ideas with them and work with them, which is a big part of it. Like I work with my siblings on my creative projects. And yeah, so I think the biggest thing when it comes to staying kind of excited about not just school, but things outside of school is having the people around you that are close with you. And for me, that's been my siblings.
I love that. But, you know, you're a little bit of a dark horse, Macy, because, yeah, there's all those things that go on outside. But I know that you give back to the community. You have been involved in so many things. Do you want to tell us just a little bit, you know, so you had a liver transplant, and I know, you know, we're really grateful for that because, of course, that now you're healthy and able to get about, but you've helped that community too. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what you have done in that community?
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely say that also, what kind of also lends to being motivated and things like that. I was ambassador, like a youth ambassador for the American Liver Foundation. I did a lot of public speaking when I was younger, kind of giving people an example of what, you know, it looks like past the transplant process, hopefully inspiring at least a little bit of hope in families, and also educating people who may not know about liver disease, because for kids, that's pretty uncommon, especially the condition I had. And then actually this past summer, so I used to go to a camp called the Painted Turtle, another amazing source of community building that just totally changes disabilities from being a negative to a positive, because there are people that support you. But the Painted Turtle is a camp for medically fragile kids. And I used to go there when I was younger, and I did a lot of speaking for them. And then this past summer with Rachel, we went back and we were junior counselors. Hopefully, when I turn 19, I'll be a actual counselor, which would be incredible. So in terms of giving back, I think that's the highlight, my personal highlights in terms of being an OHI student.
I love that. Thank you so much. So let's bully Big Sis. So Rachel, Miss Graphic Designer, I mean, you've always been a drawer. What got you there? What propelled you into becoming a designer?
Well, I have always loved art and design, and I've always been a very organized person. You know, my desk is the cleanest of the three of us. I'll just, but I'm always fixing Jordan's desk. So, for me, I think I just, you know, fell into design. It was something that it's something I enjoy, and like, you know, doing the emails, that outreach, and the social media for not only the O'Kelly Lab, but, you know, helping with like amazing resources like Autism Career Pathways, and me and Macy run a few, like we're working on some climate activism kind of social media campaign things, and then also for the Awareness Festival, which is an amazing like film festival on awareness, various topics that need to be like brought to the public. So I guess for me, just like finding the mentors and the people who want to support me and that passion for design, and like kind of help guide me and give me the opportunity even to do design and that kind of visual outreach, and, you know, getting information out to people in like a way that's easily digestible and something that'll stick with them. So yeah.
I love that. So did you take any extra classes? Or is it just because you're just naturally amazing?
Well, I have taken, you know, I go to an art school now, but before that, I think it's just a learning process. I think really if anyone has an interest in design, I think yes, there's like a composition eye or compositional eye, but I think you can also train it pretty easily. And it's just with the more like practice and like the other day I was doing some design and it was just like the more practice that goes into it, or like really thinking about, I don't know, how you can, I don't want to get into the specifics of design
Your
because there's a
mind
lot.
literally
but
gets more confident
it-
and strong.
yeah, I think with practice comes more perfect, not perfect, but almost there. So yeah, I don't think I've ever taken any specific graphic design classes, but just always explored it.
Cool. See, always exploring, but isn't that part of the key? You know, I think often, I mean, I can't graphic design. I just don't have that eye. But I know sometimes children are drawing and people are telling them off and telling them to stop, but we should really be celebrating and encouraging more of that, right? Because we just don't quite know where that will take us. And obviously, you know, I don't understand a lot of modern art because I'm ancient. So, however, I mean, because there's all these new things that oh, I've forgotten what they're called. You can like sell them and stuff.
NFTs.
So we know art, so we just got to win. That's them things. See? Awesome. So, hey, Jordan, Mr. Reader. Writing, which you enjoy doing. But can you tell us what we're on? This is book number 2 or 3? Is there not 3?
I'm so sorry. Looks like my Wi-Fi is struggling a little bit, so I can't really understand what you're saying. It may be better to ask Mom first.
Okay.
Actually, I think because it's breaking up a little bit on our end as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hearing it too.
We're
You're
having
stuttering a
Wi-Fi
little.
issues. Come on, Wi-Fi. Please, Wi-Fi work well. So my question, Jordan, is what got you into writing?
Oh, well, I mean, I just always liked it. I don't know. I liked, this is something that's very, very old in my development. See, the book was written in 4th grade. And what got me into writing that was just, okay, here, I'll go into the whole story. 4th grade, Mrs. Matt's class. Mrs. Matt's was a fabulous teacher. And she wanted everyone to read more. So she would have these assignments where she would have everyone read a book each week and then, you know, summarize the book and turn in their summary to her so she knew, you know, you were reading it and comprehending. I hated this assignment because my reading level was actually a couple grades advanced and I found it impossible to read in, you know, Harry Potter books or Lord of the Rings in 1 week and then summarize it. So eventually I just started cheating on this and reading like children's books like Harold and Purple Crayon and such, which obviously my mom eventually found out about. Called a meeting with Miss Matz. We had a discussion. I told her I would rather write a book than summarize other books. Okay. So I wrote a book, 1 story a week. And that's where the original book comes from. And then it was adapted into a monologue show, which is a whole other thing, which you can learn about in the documentary that we made, O'Kelly Legends 2E Behind the Scenes. But I guess the long and short of it is I just liked writing and, you know, for as long as I can remember. And I wrote a book just because, I don't know, why not? If you're in a situation where someone says, okay, write a book.
They never thought you were going to write the book, by the way. Just want to say.
No,
I mean, you were.
who would?
She just wanted you to like do something that you were motivated. You know, you were so bored at that point. It was before Bridges. So we were lucky enough to get a great teacher that said, I just want him to be engaged. And that's that you had the idea of writing it. And then we all got together and said, what are you going to write about? And we outlined it, right? You came up with ideas and then we put them on a list. And then every week you would just do it. Some of those stories were not so great.
I love it. Yeah. So Jordan, tell us about, you are 18 and on year 5 at college. How do you do that?
Well, this is another whole story, which I guess I'll just go into. 7th grade at Bridges, right? I believe it was 7th grade. And my mom tells me about this opportunity called the Early Entrance Program at Cal State LA, where kids as young as, is it 11 or 12? I think it's 11, but like, I don't think they ever actually take 11-year-olds. I think it's mostly 12 or above. Where they can get into college, not like, oh, and then they can also take their normal classes. No, they like full on become full-time enrolled students at Cal State LA. And I was like, okay. And then a while later, I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Why would I not at least try to get this? I want to be a physicist when I, get older. And to be a physicist means you have to have a lot of technical education. And I would like, why wouldn't I at least try to attain that technical education faster? And so I told my mom this. She was like, okay. See, I wasn't particularly great in math or anything like that. Like my subjects were okay. So she was like, understandably kind of, sure, I guess. We went to the open house on a Sunday. She literally, after the open house ended, she literally apologized to me for wasting a Sunday. But I was like, I want to see how far this goes. So we got a tutor, and that's the first big point, is that we got someone who I could learn with one-on-one, who could accommodate my needs, which as it turned out was great because I have dysgraphia. And so I wasn't taking notes in any of my classes. This tutor would write out the notes for me, in person. And I was able to get through all of high school math in a matter of months. And then, so that's like the first major point, is finding someone who's willing to accommodate, the things that hold you back, so that you can actually see that, hey, I'm actually not half bad at math.
So I want to jump in. It was just because it was a Saturday that I totally destroyed for you. It wasn't a Sunday. And I tried to give you guys ice cream after, because I felt so bad that I had pulled them off of a Saturday to go listen to this boring, tour and everything at a university. But it just shows you that you need to expose your kids to everything, because at that point, I did not see this potential. I did not see this future in Jordan. I just thought, I'm a mom. I'm going to look at a lot of different schools. I don't know what's going to work. And I dragged him and made them go to this. And then there was something there that he saw that I did not even see in him. And so that's the part I'm kind of interested in. Like, what did you see in that? What did you see? Because I did not see that. You were in a school at the time that had no grades. You weren't like the average, you were in a twice exceptional strength-based model. You weren't in a gifted program in a public school. You weren't being homeschooled. You were in a very different education environment. How did you go there? What was it that you saw? Because I didn't see it. I didn't know you were capable of it. And also at that point, we were in a deficit model before Bridges. We were in a strength-based model, but we were used to remediating your disabilities or differences. We were not bringing in a tutor that was more of a mentor that was going to accelerate you. And that's what you asked for, that was new for us as parents, because we were thinking you needed supports and help, which you did with your dysgraphia. But what you did with that new tutor or that mentor, and what you asked for, was someone that was going to accelerate you, which was a whole new concept for us. So how did you get to that? Because we did not see that. What made you ask for that as a kid?
Well, it's very bold of you to assume that there was something that I saw in particular. That was a complete leap of faith. In fact, I was confident that I would not be able to do it. Why would I be? But I decided, that what is the harm in trying? At the very worst, I'll get ahead in my subjects. And at the very best, that's what happened. But it's the actual spark there was less of I think I can do this, in more of let's see how far it goes, which is an important point for a lot of kids who, think maybe, who don't even know that they have the potential to accelerate. Personally,
Okay.
I think
I'm going
just
to go back now because I was talking to Maria earlier about how you were this cautious kid, and that when you were playing Minecraft, even in 6th grade, you did not want to jump off a cliff because you did not want to die. And then you went into Stuart's class, right, at Bridges, and Stuart had that failure. What was it, that exercise where you had to fail or something? And it completely, in that class, you completely turned around and became this kid that wanted to try new things and wasn't afraid of failure anymore. So I have to say that it was kind of like that perfect timing. If you had not been in that 7th grade kind of mindset or environment, I don't know if you would have tried this.
It's true. Yeah, so in 7th grade humanities class, Stuart, the teacher, oh God, I always mispronounce his last name, but I think it's Matrongo, one of those. This is the problem with calling your teachers by their first name. Anyway, Stuart had this exercise where we had to, get rejected as many times as we could in a span of time by doing all sorts of stupid things, asking, walking into a burger restaurant, eating a burger, and then asking for a burger refill. Like, obviously, they're not going to give that to you. Asking people for $100 just on the street, stuff like that. But it was really great because it kind of just, there's this barrier in most people's minds that prevents them from, going out there and just being okay with people saying no to them. But once you break it just a couple times, it's gone. Like I could go do that right now. Ask for a burger refill.
Wonderful. Macy.
Yes. I just had a quick comment. It's a bit of maybe a non sequitur, but I think it kind of ties into Jordan's writing a bit. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about community, especially because Bridges is relevant to this conversation. I think when it comes to writing or art, the most important thing, and in going outside your comfort zone, the most important thing I have learned in high school is that you are that is the most important thing, you developing your voice. That's all colleges want to hear about. That's all about art. That's all about writing. That's all about critical thinking. Essay writing. History was all about your perspective and writing about what you thought. So in terms of Bridges and in terms of staying positive, staying motivated, the really important thing is having a community where you can develop that voice. And that's what Bridges was good for, was that I realized what I thought about art, what I wanted to do in art, but also how I wanted to express myself as an academic, but also as a student and a friend or a family member. And that becomes the most important thing when you go into high school and when you go into college. There was a question in the Q&A that I want to just touch on, which is about dual and concurrent enrollment. That aspect of being able to know what you want is really important before you go into high school, so you can access that and kind of have an angle. It's like journalism. You have to have an angle in academics, period. Which
a point of view, right? A point of view is very important.
And I know, at least at my school, a lot of people are worried about that. They think it's selfish, but it's not. You're just sharing your perspective and have these skills to argue for it. So that's just all I wanted to say.
I love that. Sharing your point of view and having the skills to argue for it. And most definitely surrounding yourself with community. Harry.
Yes.
Mama, come on, trauma.
Oh, Trauma Mama. Yes. So what was it like, right? The journey with these 2E kids. It was not fun. It was not fun. I think it's really been a great lesson. And if I wasn't, I really had a lot of trauma in the elementary school, being that special needs mom, standing up in those PTA meetings and feeling alone. And then once coming into a strength-based model school where they had, we used to have like a coffee kind of clutch, remember that? And we used to have educators come in. It was so awesome when we first started, it was just such an oasis for us to get into this different model of education and realizing that it didn't have to be a one size fits all, and that you could look at the strengths of your child, not just the deficits. It was just a mindset shift. And then eventually, once you're out of that constant chaos and feeling attacked, like you're trying to fight for your kid and the world is like against you, and you start to build that community, which we're doing here today with this webinar, and it's so important. Building your parent advocacy, and then having your kids build their advocacy, because eventually they're going to have to advocate for themselves. And so I was very fortunate that Macy took to advocacy very early on with the Liver Foundation and her, illness, and really making a difference and feeling purposeful and getting out there and talking to physicians and doing walks, which Maria, you've come out and supported her on her walks, and then watching her grow up and start to then do advocacy for the Painted Turtle. And now they're doing clubs and advocacy there. But writing those emails as a mom gets really, hard. And once kids can jump in and help you and they can start advocating for themselves, it's easier and easier. And the bigger team that you build, the more people that you enroll in coming to your IEP meetings when you're in that part of your life with early advocacy, having an advocate, having an attorney if you need it to support you in getting what your child deserves and what the law says. So there's just a lot of, in all of it, it's education and community building. The more you can create that support for yourself, your family, your kids, and teach them to do it for themselves, then the healthier you're going to be mental health wise. What I'm doing right now is we're still doing the O'Kelly Lab, where we're getting resources out. But as my kids are getting older and they're starting to move into their own lives and go away to college, we're moving into not just resources in education, but we're dealing with resources for employment. We're educating people about that. We're still out there with our film, using that to get the 2E word out there and talking about SENG, SANG, and the wonderful difference that they make in people's lives. So it's all about the advocacy. But then we've got something new. We have 2E Trauma Mama with Mama Trauma Stories. And that is really giving a platform to moms to talk about mental health. And we did our first performance in May, and we had, I think, 5 different moms talking. I'm trying to think, was it 5? I think it was 5. Yeah, telling their different stories. And so it's just a way to get the word out. It's just another way to talk about what's going on and trying to help people to make connections. We love connecting different organizations and people to different resources. And that's what we're about.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can I just remind everybody that if you have questions for our guests today, you need to put them in the Q&A. I cannot read them in the chat. The chat's far too busy. So we do have a
Rachel, you can help with that. Can you help with some of the Q&As, or Jordan?
Yeah, I hope the clacking isn't picking up on the mic.
Hey, one of the big questions is, so what advice can you give parents of 2E kids that are in the public school system, because I know y'all went through it, and are trying to navigate school accommodations? If a child is performing above district standard and their disability does not cause a distraction in the classroom, it's a battle to get the support we need. Where is a good place for parents to start to advocate for their 2E kids? Go, Jordan.
This one. I know this one.
Go, Jordan.
The secret is to leave the public school system. Just any other way will do. I mean, not any other way. Like, you don't just send your kid out into the wilderness, but most other, there are other homeschooling. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it has its ups and downs, but it's not like a terrible way to educate a kid. And it can be great for 2E students. If there's a school like Bridges, that'll do. Just the public school system, look, anyone can excel if they're in the right environment. Period. If the world was built around you and your needs and what you needed to succeed, guess what? You'd be Albert Einstein right now. So all you have to do is restructure the environment that your kid is in to be one where they're allowed to succeed.
Yeah. And I don't think I mean, mom would know the most about this. We're on the other side where we're the kid being fought for, but I don't think you necessarily have to leave the public school system. Rachel and I currently go to a public charter, but it's not LAUSD where we had most of our kind of turbulence with getting the right accommodations. So I feel like, Mom, you probably have the most.
Just gonna pitch in one little thing about that. I think also it's finding a school that has an interest or something that's like gonna help enrich your learning and make it accessible to you. Like our school is an art school, so
yeah, having a school that's specialized in one way, that's very helpful.
So yeah, like finding that interest or that thing that's gonna help make the student feel like they're not just going to school to learn nothing. There's like something they're getting out of it. And so finding that purpose in school is also really important.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say for us, and that's why we started the O'Kelly Lab. We started in public school and it was a deficit model. And so I believe after years and years of speaking in front of the school district, fighting with the school district, there are so many amazing professional teachers, educators within public schools. But unfortunately, the model is not supporting a twice exceptional student. It's a deficit model. It's the IEP system. It's all looking at like what's wrong, what the kid can't do. So until we shift that mindset of really looking at the child first, the child first, like what the kid can do, not the disability, not even the gift, just in everything, not just in education, but in the workforce. I mean, everything is moving to a person first, to the skills that you have. I mean, the mindset has to change. So unfortunately, we have this big machine and a lot of corruption in the larger school systems. Some of the smaller school, systems are better in some ways, but I think basically you need to, as a parent, you need to look at your child. You need to look at their strengths. You need to create an environment at home and at school that is safe, where they can thrive, where they can be seen. And my kids have been in public school. They've been in strength-based model. Jordan has radically accelerated in a totally different model than the twice exceptional model. That is, that's a completely different model. He's done unschooling by himself, like just teaching himself all kinds of stuff. We haven't done homeschooling traditionally, but when we had COVID, everybody was kind of doing homeschooling. So it was this wonderful mind-opening experience where we all got to kind of look at, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be one way. So it's up to what parents feel comfortable doing. It's what parents feel they can handle. It's where they're supporting and creating an environment that is going to help their child develop to be the best person they can be. That's what it's all about. We want everyone to just not survive education. We want them to thrive. And we were fortunate enough to find Bridges where that intrinsic learning kicked in for our kids. And that's what every parent wants. They want a kid that's not just going to school to get a grade, but going because they want to learn and their interests are being supported and they are going beyond what the A and the 4.0. We want them to go way beyond that. We don't want them to stop at that. Oh, I got an A, I don't need to do anything. We want to teach universal, lifelong skills.
Beautiful.
And happiness.
Macy, I know you've got to leave us. You've got to duck out. Is there one last nugget you can leave with us?
Yes, I really liked my mom's point about having an environment at home and at school, and especially as extracurriculars where a kid can just regulate themselves. I think finding classes outside of school, like for us, that comes in the form of dual and concurrent enrollment with a community college. That kind of adds that, like, if the school isn't working, there is always another place that you can access education in a way that a kid is interested in. For us, that was a community college. For example, in our English class, like we already had done the material, but there was no way we could get out of the class, so we took a college class instead, and it was the most like transformative, just a much more nuanced understanding of English as an art and as a subject from that class. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight the home extracurricular and school environment because it not only regulates a kid, but it also can motivate them. And it doesn't have to be just in a school if you cannot make the school work. I do have to run, unfortunately, but I was very, very, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah.
Love you, Macy. Thank you so much for staying in the struggle, for being the amazing person you are. And even though you're sick, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your journey with us. We really do appreciate it. Okay, take care. And I'm looking forward to the next leaf, right?
Yep.
The next part of the journey. So keep me informed. Take care, my love. See
Thank
later.
you.
Jordan, I'm looking at the chat and I'm seeing, bye Mace. I'm looking at the chat and I see Raymond Yates, man. He joined. Did you say hi? Oh
Hi, Raymond.
God. That's one of your friends from Vanderbilt. Talk about Vanderbilt and what that was like and the amazing experience of meeting Raymond. Hi, Raymond. Raymond's in the house. Oh, Dr. Teresa Haskins is here. Oh my gosh, this is great.
So you want me to talk about Vanderbilt?
I think you should. It's an amazing opportunity. You should share it. Tell everybody about it. Talk about N3, some of the other things that you've gotten a chance to experience by, acknowledging who you are.
Yep, that'll be great.
I'm going to put this into kind of a broader picture. So Vanderbilt in particular was an internship where that's what we call an REU, a research experience for undergraduates, for those not in the STEM fields. And that's basically where you go to a university and work under a professor at that university doing some research for about 10 weeks. I got the chance to do one at Vanderbilt, which was geared towards those on the spectrum. And that was probably, that was the best work I've ever done in anything pretty much. But that was an amazing experience for me because that pushed me somewhere outside of my comfort zone. The same way that applying to the early entrance program takes me from my kind of complacent state as a student to someone who's accelerating, the REU did the same thing. All of a sudden, I was in another state, staying away from home for the first time in a program studying research that prior to getting into the REU, I knew pretty much nothing about. And it was one of the most productive experiences for me in recent memory. I cannot stress enough how valuable experiences like that are. Similar experiences I've had were with the N3 program, that's NASA's Neurodiversity Network, run by Dr. Lynn Kaminsky. She's amazing.
She has an event tonight she's doing, I think, too. If anybody's interested in becoming an astronaut, especially women, it's women's kind of astronaut event. NASA's always doing something cool. Being part of this community, you've got to reach out and meet all these wonderful mentors. Lynn's an amazing lifetime mentor for you, right? Talk about, you went and visited, where did you go that you visited her? What was it? Sonoma State?
Mm-hmm.
Ari, can we do that in a second? Only I've got like 20 questions and I
oh my gosh, that's great. I was filling time.
No,
they're really piling up.
Yeah, they're really piling and we're not getting through. So what recommendations are there for early college dual enrollment work for students on design paths? It seems that many dual enrollment and early college options are limited in the art and design experiences.
So I'll try to answer this to the best of my ability, just from my experience. because I'm also going through the college application process. And no, it is very hard, or yes, it is very hard to find design programs, especially in public universities or colleges. So I'm with your struggle there. But for me, I think the best places to look for like college or dual enrollment credits early on, I would say is like look at your community colleges. I'm dual enrolled with my school through Citrus College, which is out in Duarte, which is far away. But so I would say look to your community colleges in your area, or the one that you know is good in your area. And try to look into online classes are great if you know that works for you, or if you're, doing something else, like also in school. It's a great way to find those opportunities and have that like enrichment while also not having the like in-person commute. So I would say community college, or also college extension programs. A lot of colleges, especially with the UC systems, they have extension programs that are more specific. I don't want to say more vocational, but they're like more design, like specific opportunities that you can find. So that would be my advice, but it's a hard thing and you can't find it everywhere. So
I think look in the chat. Dr. Haskins is an expert that's here today. Yes. Dr. Teresa Haskins would think differently, and she's put something in the chat. There's tons of great resources popping up, everybody.
Cool. So awesome. Jordan, what kind of tutor did you use? Math specific?
I actually had a couple of them. One of them, the big one was math. That was the one I studied the most because that was the subject I was most lacking in. And for those who are unaware, physics is 99% math. So I really had to get up on that, and thankfully I did. But there was other stuff. There was one in a kind of writing and just generally SAT prep that helped me do good on the SATs. But it's if you have a kid, or you are a kid and you're aiming to do the same thing, just zero in on the subjects that you think you could learn the most in. That's obviously like if it's something like math, I didn't know what I could do in math. It's just I stumbled upon the right way to learn it, so that I was able to learn it much more quickly than before.
I'm reading some stuff too, and you should mention the program you're in right now in college that's helping you with your grad school stuff. And there's the bridge programs, that all those programs that are out there.
Raymond has some sterling advice in the chat about
Yay!
programs and going from community college to undergrad, or master's to a doctorate. Love you, Raymond. But
so let's encourage people to read the chat for some more links.
We've got great resources in here. I love it.
Yeah, and then I just put.
Go on.
Oh, I just put I just answered another question. I just want to make sure that Marla saw it about, is there a list of colleges that offer early entrance? And I don't know if Jordan or Mom have any.
Yeah, there's like
five, but I put a link to a website that has.
I know Johns Hopkins has one. I know there's one in Seattle. There's, I think, 5 of them that I know of that start as early as 11 or 12
in the US.
And I think you can search those early entrance programs. Yes. You want to talk about that, about the socialization? It's a whole different model.
Can we try and get through some more questions?
Yes, sorry, but
because we're vastly running out of time.
Keep looking. Keep looking through the resources. Yes.
So what advice would you give to parents whose kids are getting passing grades in the public school setting with an IEP and accommodation and services, but the district wants to remove the IEP because the kiddo has passing grades?
Wow, that happened a billion times. Don't let them do it. You've got to fight. You got to get an advocate. Rachel had her, I think they even said that Jordan wasn't autistic anymore. They took yours away once. They took Rachel's away, I think 2 or 3 times. So if you don't have any behaviors, it's really hard sometimes to even keep that, IEP. But we were able to, you just have to fight to keep your IEP, because they don't realize, they just need to be educated. They don't realize that it's not just about the grade. So, I mean, actually, Jordan, I want to get a bumper sticker. Jordan was never student of the month ever, but he skipped high school completely. And it's just crazy. You know, our kids are not seen, and they're not valued, and they're not really supported. So we just need to educate people on why we need to keep those IEPs.
Hang on, Maria, I just want to answer Susan's question in the chat really quick, because this is one I can do in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Pen on paper, and then I had an iPad that I was using with an Apple Pencil to write my notes on that completely solved the dysgraphia problem. I mean, not completely, but it mostly solved the dysgraphia problem to the point where I could take notes. The math keyboards are kind of not helpful typically, because you have to take notes way too fast for something like that.
And watch your 2E Like Me. That explains the
Yeah,
whole.
there's a video I have called 2E Like Me, which kind of explains the whole thing. Okay, go on.
Wonderful. To Jordan, in what way do you think Bridges has influenced your path in life?
Well, this is an important point that I meant to touch on earlier, and it's that, okay, yeah, I was doing outside of school with this tutor, blah, 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 trying to get into the thing. Nowhere near possible in a school other than Bridges, because Bridges is really, really light on the homework. And so that allowed me to have the time to pursue this acceleration outside of school. If you're in a school where they're just dumping homework on you that keeps you where you are because you have to, you know, take the time to do it, good luck. So that's I think, as far as acceleration goes and my post-Bridges life goes, that's the biggest academic influence. And also it kind of molded me into, when you go into Bridges, you go into Bridges as, oh, the autistic student from the public school who's not doing great. And you come out of Bridges as the autistic student from Bridges who's doing great, you know?
I think you should talk about the fact that you met so many different people that had quirky personalities, and how that was really like the thing that got you into the early entrance program.
In the Bridges environment.
And now with working in labs, I mean, holy cow, it was the best. It was the best.
We're getting there, Mom. Being in the Bridges environment completely changed my perspective on what it means to be 2E or disabled or whatever, and gave me more confidence in myself and my own abilities, which was huge, and is just overall, if there's a Bridges or a Bridges-like school where you are and you have a 2E student, that's where they should be.
Also valuing everybody's point of view.
Yep.
I think you really came away with that. Because when everybody's different, then you really value people for who they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big lesson, I think.
Most definitely. We have so many questions, it's untrue. We are not going to be able to answer them all. The next question, though, is how well equipped do the young people speaking on this webinar feel they are as they begin going to college and or working? And how aware are they of specific socio-economic structures that might lend themselves to cater to their success while not to other demographics? What might be done to correct this as a community?
Well, I've been in college for 5 years now, so I can't really speak to how prepared I am, or rather how prepared I feel. But as far as the socioeconomic stuff goes, I talk about, oh yeah, and then we got a tutor for this and we did this and that. If you're not of the means, then things are a lot harder. It's not impossible, but it's definitely not fair. My recommendations would be something like online. You can find pretty much any information on any subject, up to and including, senior level college things. Khan Academy will have a curriculum outlined for you, but if you don't want to do, if your kid hates Khan Academy for whatever reason, there's other stuff, and you can just follow that curriculum by Googling, and this is the differential equations, outline, and then just Google those subjects if your kid hates Khan Academy. I don't know why you would hate Khan Academy, but I know a lot of kids don't like Khan Academy, so it's not impossible, but it is way harder if you don't have a lot of money.
Rachel, but you're about to go, right?
Yeah, so yes, both of us we're very lucky to be like in a family that's not only of means but also educated on 2E and twice exceptionality and how to better support that. So I would say There are lots of free resources that you can find. Community college, I'm such an advocate for community college. If you have the option of taking an AP or a community college, save your $90. Don't buy the test. Do a community college class instead. It's a much better way to learn, and it's not cramming for a grade. I would say for me, in terms of how I feel ready to transition, I think the biggest advice I would give is do a lot of research on where you're transitioning to, what college you're looking at. Know tour the school, know the environment, know that they have a good disabilities program, and one that you can get in contact with, and be like, hey, so I'm gonna go here. What kind of supports can you help me with? And Jordan has been a part of part of the OSD since he got to Cal State LA, and it's been so helpful for him. And but it is up to the student to do that once it goes to college. And so a big thing is, as a student, being prepared to, I think, take that role on as your own advocate. So the more training you can train yourself in self-advocacy, which is something I've struggled with my whole life, is building that advocacy. So I would say for college transitions, biggest thing, self-advocacy, being your biggest advocate, and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and being able to talk about both.
Also taking risks. You tutored during COVID. Jordan started tutoring at 15 at college. I mean, putting yourselves in those different positions and challenging yourself. I mean, it taught you a lot of socialization, being the teacher instead of the student. By flipping that, you guys both gained a lot with your expressive language. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you're going to learn anytime you challenge yourself. Volunteer as much as you can, because it pushes you, and then you learn something new about yourself.
Most definitely. Yeah. We are out of time. I am so sorry. I cannot believe it. Our time has gone. We have so many questions that we are not going to be able to answer. However, we will be back next month. But as promised, we have a poll, right? So today's question is about Jordan's book. Hopefully you can remember which grade on the book it says was when it was written. So I'm going to launch that. Get your answers in. You'll be pleased to know it's a multiple choice. So get your answer in, just decide which one it is. And then we will find out. I will announce next month who our winners are. And I just realized that I forgot to bring the names up. Harry! They forgot to bring the names of last month's winners. We had two amazing winners for Dr. Dan Peters' book last month. So I can't thank the O'Kellys enough for being my guests today. What you've shared with us has been very, very impactful. It is amazing to know that although the journey is difficult, by staying in the struggle, by surrounding yourself with a community, so finding people who think like you. The students said it most clearly. Finding those people with those same interests as you, finding schools that are focused on the interests that your child has, right? So Rachel and Macy are going to an art school because that is a passion for them. Rachel so eloquently is telling us and reminding us that we need to check out those community colleges, because for those of us that are not blessed with means, they are a great into getting that additional support.
And thank you so much, Maria, because you are someone who showed us that education is a get to. It is not a have to. Education is a get to, and we are in gratitude. And I just want to tell you, my heart is warmed. I'm seeing so many beautiful messages come across the chat. I mean, Isabel, I mean, Jenna, I mean, all these, Dr. Haskins, all these people, Sam Young, I mean, everybody that's chimed in today, you're all part of this community. You're all making a difference for families like ours. We wouldn't be here if we didn't have your support, if we didn't have your genius, if we didn't have your expertise. We all need to do this together. Hi, Megan. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Raymond. Thanks, John. I mean, I just can't even thank everybody that popped in today. And thank you, Maria and Bridges.
You are very, very welcome. Ladies, gentlemen, guests, people, remember, community is key, okay? So Crucial Conversations is here to help you. Check us out every month. Next month, my guest is going to be the amazing Julie Skolnick, the founder of With Understanding Comes Calm. Hey, quick tip, Julie has a brand new book that is being launched in October. You need to come join me.
I bought it. We bought it. We're
Good.
awesome. She's awesome. Yay, Julie. I love it.
Because by joining us next month, you'll also have an opportunity to win one of Julie's books, a copy of the brand new one. So you definitely need to come and check us out. I cannot thank you enough, Harry, Jordan, Rachel, and Macy. You are all phenomenal. I want you to continue, keep the O'Kelly Lab going, continue to be that conduit, that connection. Please reach out to the O'Kellys, O'Kelly Lab, check out their amazing stuff that they're doing. They know about all of the things that are going on. So like I said, let's create a bigger community. Let's help and support each other. Let's share resources and hey, have a great evening and make sure that you join me next month. Thank you.
We want to be part of your team. So thanks. Reach out to us. Love you, Maria.
There are links in the chat if you want to get in contact. All right. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Bridges. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much. You're amazing. So John's going to see us out with some music and something for next month. All right. Oops.